The Knight System. Now, many in the MGTOW movement are familiar with the Knight System. It generally consists of just two kinds of knights, a white knight, and I would like to coin the phrase, a black knight. Now, I looked it up recently, and a black knight has been defined by someone else. It is basically just an anti-feminist, typically the person who takes up the argument opposing a feminist argument, opposing a white knight. I would like to go a little further. A few months ago, when I first discovered MGTOW relative to MRA, Barbarossa and Stardust and such, I came across someone who wanted to warn people about black knights in the MGTOW movement. Joe Bird, Joseph Byrne, I'm not sure what his name was. He defined a black knight as someone of more like the wasp parasite. I don't like his definition as much because it doesn't apply to what I would like to say is the black knight within what I would like to define as the MGTOW knight system. So let's just deal with the knight system. Knights defend what some in the manosphere community call the cathedral. I prefer to call it the castle. So the cathedral can be called the castle, and I agree that men should attack the castle on all sides. But as for those who ascribe to the knight system, there are white knights, of course. A white knight is what many would call a Captain Save-A-Ho, a simp, a poor unfortunate fellow who thinks that by coming to the defense of a damsel in distress, he can earn some sort of reward, hopefully affection, at least love or appreciation. And so the white knight will sacrifice himself in some cases to play Captain Save-A-Ho or to save the damsel in distress. This is a perfectly acceptable definition for the term of white knight. I like what someone else said months ago. A white knight is a knight whose mettle has never been tested. So there's the category of white knight. Now on to black knight. A black knight is someone I would like to say is more like someone out of the pickup artist community. They are the bad boy. They treat women poorly. They don't white knight it up, they black knight it up. They may appear misogynistic. They may appear woman-hating. They may be an anti-feminist. They may have strong anti-feminist opinions, viewpoints, or actions. But essentially they're still ascribing to what I would like to call the knight system. They still hold fealty to the feudal system of the castle, aka the cathedral. So in more colloquial terms, more manosphere terms, we can refer to the black knight as a pickup artist. All knights ascribe and live to defend the castle. The castle exists, the patriarchy exists to protect and serve the damsel. The damsel lives in the castle. The knights serve the lords of the castle. I hope this is clear. I hope this is acceptable. And I hope this term comes into use more. Now on to my critique of the knight system. Well, once upon a time, the knight system was not a bad system. It served its purpose. women had a place in the home, in the castle. They were placed there quite naturally to protect them from not only themselves, but from just random, violent, rapey men. Other men get sick and tired of living in tents, in caves, while they're gone hunting or doing whatever. Some other guys would show up and, rape their women, and then they're not quite sure whose kids they're raising. A perfectly legitimate biological evolutionary concern. So, men built walls. Then they built castles. So the knight system, once upon a time, served a purpose. And then the damsel wanted to play knight herself. She wanted to say, hey, I don't need you guys to protect me. I'm going to protect myself. And white knights, being the chivalrous, kind, simp captains they are, said, fine, go ahead. And women got out in the real world, and wow, I can reference the saying, you wanted to play with the big boys, didn't you, girl? Yeah, it's a little harder. There's a reason why softball and baseball are different. There's a reason why WNBA and NBA is different. The baskets are shorter, and I believe the demarcation lines on the basketball field for the women are smaller as well, etc., etc., etc. Man-woman myth has gone through this. Women, yes, are not as capable of defending themselves as men are, generally speaking, which is why, one of the many reasons why men are better at not only protecting themselves, but women and their children. Whatever feminists may say, or the nature-nurture reasons for this, the cultural reasons for this are immaterial as far as what I am addressing, which is the knight system. So here we have the knight system, and the white knight was very good. He let the woman try. She tried and failed, and she's been complaining about it ever since. She wanted to play with the big boys and got hurt. Now she wants the big boys to sort of weaken themselves, become more androgynous, more effeminate. It's not fine. It's understandable. They've been told for decades now that they are strong and independent, and that there's some vast male conspiracy, which is why they can't compete with knights in general, but the black knight. So the black knight can be defined as a pickup artist, a thug, some guy on unemployment, a criminal, a felon, someone who doesn't follow the rules and regulations and laws of the society, of the castle system, of the feudal system, but whose ultimate purpose, whose ultimate goal is still to address the damsel. Now, whether or not he rapes the damsel, whether or not he lures the damsel away from her husband, whether or not he, how shall I say, tricks her, lies to her, breaks every other rule, he is still ascribing to the knight system. He is still a knight. So what is my advice for this, other than labeling these men properly, labeling these knights properly? My advice would be that if you wanted to be a warrior, if you wanted to be a fighter, if you wanted to be something similar to a knight, either white or black, I would say go rogue, go Ronin, go barbarian, how shall I say, go wanderer, a wandering warrior. Abandon the castle, abandon the feudal system. Walk away from the knights and their ridiculous standards of douchebaggery. It's a double entendre there. Hope people got that. Yes, walk away from it entirely. This will be best. Slowly, other warriors will join you. They will give up their swords and their shields, their armor, their standards, and they will do something other than serve and protect the damsel. Eventually, one by one, not only will the warriors leave, but then the scholars, and then the merchants, then the craftsmen, and then ultimately, finally, the farmers and the other peasants, for lack of a better word. And then there will be no one left to attend to the other needs of the castle. And then the damsel will be left all alone. Colonel McSconder has a good video relative to this. But this is my advice to anyone out there who still has any pretense or desire. If you wish to fight, find your own fight, either within yourself or some other goal. Don't get me wrong, the company and affection of women is intoxicating and soothing. But yes, we have more important things to do now than tend to the castle, simply for the goal of keeping safe and comfortable a creature, a woman, a damsel, who views the castle now not as home and hearth and safety, but as a imposed prison. These damsels don't want to stay in their home where they're safe. They want to play with the big boys. I say we let them. Yours truly, M.